Welcome to the Hats and Bats podcast with Kevin and Matt. Welcome to the third
Yes, sir.
episode of Hats and Bats with Matt and Kevin.
What's
Happy
going
opening
on,
day.
everybody?
Happy opening day.
Happy opening day. One of the best days of the year. Maybe the best day of the year. I don't really get excited about the beginning of football season, but for me still, God, this just symbolizes the end of winter. Spring's here. Baseball's on TV. Let's go. I'm ready to go, baby.
It's the whole green grass. So the first game that I put on today was the Dodgers and the Cardinals.
Yep.
And seeing the green grass, I'm like, here we go. It's baseball time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. So I figure we'll start off right off the bat. I will eventually put on a hat since we are a Hat and Bats podcast. I just figure I start the flow for a little bit right now. All right, so I got a couple fun facts for us.
Very flow.
So since this is our third episode, I figure we'll do the fun facts and the trivia, just circulate around the number 3. So
Get started.
Baseball 3. When I say baseball in threes, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Number 3 with baseball.
I mean, I think Babe Ruth.
Okay.
Think about, third base. I can think about strike 3. I can think about the third hitter in the lineup. I mean, the number 3 is pretty significant. 3 outs, obviously, in an inning. There's a lot of threes in the game of baseball.
What is your first memory of baseball video games? What was the name of the first video baseball game you played?
So I'm going way back. I don't know if this is what you had in mind, but I'm going back to RBI baseball for Sega.
Okay, a little bit later in the RBI, I'm thinking Tony Gwynn on the cover.
Tony Gwynn, triple play?
Triple play.
Nice.
So here's my little segue into my first trivia. So,
oh my God,
in Major League Baseball history, there have been 15 unassisted triple plays. Okay, 15. Now, this is not my trivia for you yet. I'm saving these. They're just facts I looked up. So 15 unassisted triple plays in baseball history. Out of those 15, 12 of them were by a middle infielder. So 12 out of 15 were done by a middle infielder. What other position do you think incorporates the other 3 unassisted triple plays?
The other 3 unassisted triple plays. So if I say corner infielder, do I have to specify between third and first base?
You would, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go third base.
Wrong bag, wrong corner. First
base. Okay.
First
right.
base. The other 3 were by first baseman, so I thought that was a little bit interesting.
That's interesting.
4 teams have won 3 World Series championships. 4 teams. And I was kind of surprised by this. So when I looked it up, I'm thinking, okay, what 4 teams have won 3? So I know with the Mets being 2, obviously, not part of it. Obviously, you're big time, your Yankees, your Cardinals, way out of it. But there are 4 teams, and I would never have guessed it.
That's the question. What team has exactly won 3?
Correct.
Okay.
One of the more recent.
Yeah, you got to give me a second to think about this. Okay. All right. So one is more recent, you said.
Yes, and 2 of them are from the same city.
Okay. So 3 World Series. Chicago White Sox.
Chicago White Sox is 1, so they were 1906.
1906, 1917, and then 2005.
This is not scripted. That's just you knowing that. Great.
All right, so let's see. The third one would be the Chicago Cubs, who won in 1907, 1908, and 2016.
That's insane. That's insane.
That's 2. Well, I mean, back to those 1906, 1907 days, probably. Same thing with Mordecai Brown. That's a phenomenal story. Guy hurts his hand in a tragic lawn mowing accident. I think he breaks one of his fingers to actually be able to grip a baseball, and that grip actually allowed him to throw a sinker, which was deadly back then. And he was one of the best pitchers of that early dead ball era.
What kind of lawnmower did they have in that time period?
I don't know. It's one of those push ones, right? I mean, there's no motor to it, so I don't really know exactly how. That's the way the story went, supposedly. I don't know exactly how. Maybe someone else was mowing, and who knows? But so Chicago Cubs, Chicago White Sox, and
Yeah,
I mean, I'm really going through like decades here. So, I mean, hold on, give me like one more second before I ask for a hint.
okay.
Oh my God, 3 World Series. Would that be the Atlanta Braves?
The Atlanta Braves are not
No,
three
no, it's
World
not. This is the
Series.
Boston Braves. It doesn't count. No, it doesn't count. I caught myself. Boston Braves in 14, the Miracle Braves. 57, they beat the Yankees, and then 95, and the more recent one. Okay, so it's not the
You
Braves.
are such a history teacher with these dates. I don't know how you keep this stuff
Dude,
straight.
it all connects. I'm telling you, when I launch my baseball podcast, the baseball story, the name of baseball history, it's all going to connect. It's going to be beautiful.
I
The
remember
three,
I took a trip to Boston with
okay.
my old school with one of my good buddies. We were sitting on the bus, obviously bored. He was able
Mm-hmm.
to go through every single World Series and World Series MVP from like 1945 to like
Wow.
2015 at the time. I'm like, how
I
do
mean,
you? I had to sit there and look it up on my phone. I don't know how you guys
I,
do it. It's
I'm
the history.
listen. I can do it all the way back from 1903. I can't give you the MVPs, but I can give you every World Series winner from 1903 to current day. So
That's
this way, I'm
insane.
trying to wrap through. Like, I need a little hint. I do need a little hint.
All right, so one of them, when they won one of their World Series, they beat the Mets.
Okay. So, geez, did they win it twice in the 30s? No,
And
they no.
more recent than that.
What they beat the Mets more recently in the World Series?
Than the 1930s. Well, yeah. Well, their first World Series was not in the 30s.
Their first World Series. Okay, so it's not the Tiger. That's all I know. The Tigers didn't
It's
beat the
not
Mets
the
in the World
Tigers.
Series. What am I talking? Well, I went 2005. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I was thinking about when the 2005 that Mets team won the World Series, and they did not, unfortunately, because of Yadier Molina. So sorry to
Mm,
bring that back up for you.
mm.
It's not the Royals, right?
Not the Royals.
It's not the Royals. They beat the Mets in the World Series.
Oh, no, excuse me. The Mets beat that. Whoa, I messed that up. That's right. The
Oh,
Mets
okay.
beat
Gee,
them the previous year. They won the next year. I'm sorry, that's my bad.
the
Mets
Mets
beat them,
beat them
and
in
then
the
they
World
won the World Series
Series.
the next year.
Is it the Orioles?
Baltimore Orioles
Yeah,
is
Baltimore
one.
Orioles. Okay, Baltimore Orioles. Orioles won in, hang on, 66, 83, and 1970. That was a Brooks Robinson year.
That's
1970, yeah.
insane. Do you know like Clem and Hank the Tank from Barstool?
Yes, yes.
So they just know like all those random facts. If
Yeah.
this avenue for us doesn't work out, we need to just do a trivia where I'll come up with a pure trivia and then ask you.
Oh,
See if we can come up with the last
I,
one. So the last one is split. It's the same
okay.
franchise but under different names.
Same franchise under different names. Okay, it's the fourth
Correct.
team. Same franchise under different names. Okay, so it's not the. No, it's not the Senate. Oh, wait a minute. It is. It's the Senators and the Twins.
That's correct. Do you know the
Yeah,
year?
Senators won the World Series in 1924, and the Twins won the World Series in 87 and 91. Kirby Puckett. Yeah,
Yep, the Kirby Puckett. I remember. I remember the. Was that the
yeah.
game that
You know what's
John
so funny?
Smoltz
Talking
had
about full circle. When I used to play RBI baseball with my father, he would always, oh my God, he would beat me so bad because Dad never let us win anything, and he would use that '87 Twins team in RBI baseball and would just hit homer after homer with guys like Gary Gaetti. And so that team will forever be imprinted. I think I'm in my brain.
That's great. The fact that you just remember those dates, like seriously, I don't remember what I did yesterday, and you're just spitting off. It blows my mind. All right, so
Oh man!
that was the fun facts that kind of turned into trivia.
Oh
This
man!
one
That
actually
was good. All right, like that was fun trivia.
so I like again, I'm like super impressed. But I feel like such an old guy that I have to put glasses on to read things. All right, so this is right up your alley, and I fully expect you to get this without anything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
two pitchers tied for third all time in wins. Who are the two pitchers that are tied third place all time in Major League Baseball wins?
third all time. So 1 is obviously Cy Young. 2 would be. Is it the Big Train? No, the Big Train's not. Is he at 2? The Big Train, Walter Johnson.
Yep.
Okay, so Walter Johnson's at 2. So all time in wins, third. Okay, so the 2 pitchers at the third place. I do need some context here, just to help me out.
373 wins.
Okay, stop. 373 wins. Okay. Is Seaver one of them?
Seaver's not one now.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, it's not Seaver at 373. Who's at 370? That number is like, it's like going off in my brain. 373. Mm-hmm. It's not Bob Gibson. It's not Seaver. Is it Steve Carlton?
It is not.
Give me another one. Give me another hit then.
So I would say like early 1910s to about 1930, I believe he pitched. Now, again, I'm spitballing here. I know he pitched for several franchises. I believe he started off with the Phillies, I want to say.
Is it Pete Alexander?
Pete Alexander?
Yeah.
I have Grover.
Grover Pete Alexander. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. See, I didn't even know him by Pete. Yep. So he's got
Grover Pete Alexander. Okay. And the other guy, what time period would you say he is?
Same time period. I'm gonna have to do a quick look just so I don't mess
It's not Lefty
up.
Grove, is it?
It's not Lefty Grove, no.
Okay, so it's not Lefty Grove. It's Christy Matheson.
Christy Matheson. Yep.
Yeah, Christy Matheson. Okay.
So I found it. 373 wins. Like obviously nobody's ever touched that again. So Alexander threw 5,190 innings. Matheson threw 4,788. The thing that is just blows my mind. Grover Alexander, 666 games started, 531 complete games.
Mm-hmm.
So Christie, 435 complete games, 552 games started. To me, that just blows my mind. It's so different.
Again, it's a different time period in the sport, but I will say the athleticism of a lot of these guys and their ability to log these innings. Now, listen, those guys aren't throwing upper 90s like today's pitchers are. Not even like pitchers in the 1960s or 1970s. Okay, they're not throwing that hard. However, the way they were able to manipulate the baseball, the junk they were able to throw, and the dependability on these guys was absolutely incredible. It was just what. Oh, am I back?
You're back. You're back. You're good.
Did I come back yet?
The thing you said was
awesome.
The last thing I could get was what they can manipulate.
Yeah, again, just how dependable these guys were, because that's the way they thought the game was supposed to be played, is that when you put your pitcher out there, he goes all 9 innings. In fact, the first manager to really start to utilize a bullpen was the great Connie Mack. And he was able to manipulate 4 or 5 pitchers. And he knew by the 7th inning, if they didn't have their stuff, I'm pulling him and I'm throwing in that other pitcher. And even though they had the starting pitcher title, those guys were interchangeable. Those early great athletic teams with guys like Rube Waddell and Eddie Plank. Rube would pitch 7. When Rube became a little wild, Eddie Plank would come in, and then vice versa the next day. And Connie Mack became really the first one to start to really think outside of the box and go and utilize other pitchers when their starters were getting tired. I don't want to blow all my good stories from my podcast later on. But if you want a fun little thing to look at the very first World Series and look at the Boston team and look at the guys who pitched, especially after game, I believe, 4, because you're only going to see 2 names. And it was a big decision the manager made. But again, that's a story for another time.
I don't know. Like, do you have any idea how fast they threw? They couldn't have been talking.
So, what can we call it? Netflix. I believe it was Netflix. They did a documentary on the fastball. I think a couple of years ago. In the 1930s, they did this experiment with Walter Johnson, and they set up like this pretty intricate little system using these wires and targets. And Walter Johnson took the ball and he threw his fastball and it broke through the wires, and basically set these measurements back to this machine to figure out how fast he was actually throwing. And I think according to that one time he threw, it came in at like 89, 90, I think 91 miles per hour, like somewhere in that range. Now, was Walter Johnson that day throwing his typical fastball? Was it, a regulation ball that he used? When it hit the wires, did it take something off the speed? We don't know. To me, the best way to try to rationalize it is the people who watched him play and the kind of impact a guy like Walter Johnson had. People weren't saying that about many pitchers back then, not like Walter Johnson. So do I believe that back in Cy Young's time and Christy Mathewson's time, their fastball was like 75? I don't know. I don't really believe it is. Maybe they sat more low 80s or high 70s. And they threw a lot of junk. When people talk about Walter Johnson, they say his fastball was second to none. And that's even comparing him years later to guys like Bob Feller. That was comparing to guys like Bob Gibson in the 1960s who threw very hard. I kind of trust those guys, those historians back then, the way they talk about those guys. So I'm not ruling it out. Do I think consistently Walter Johnson threw 98, 100 miles per hour like he does in the show? Probably not. Probably not. But I know batters were incredibly intimidated. I know they all said no one threw harder than him. And again, I'll do one little interesting side story because we do have a lot to talk about today. Ty Cobb had a great strategy against Walter Johnson. He always crowded the plate. And pitchers and hitters were always afraid to crowd the plate because if that Walter Johnson fastball hits you, it's going to hurt. But Ty Cobb knew that Walter Johnson was a really nice guy, a super nice guy, and he was very hitting batters. So Ty Cobb used to crowd the plate because he knew that Walter Johnson would be forced to pitch outside because he didn't want to hurt him. And then Ty Cobb would just flick his wrist. Yeah, exactly. Knock it over into left field. So yeah, it's an interesting Walter Johnson story for you.
That's great. And then, even when I was watching the Dodgers game today, Bob Costas, who I cannot freaking stand. Bob Costas should never narrate a baseball game. He just goes off on like a soliloquy. But he said how Glasnow has never thrown more than like 150 innings in a year.
Nope.
And I'm like, just you see those stats, it's flabbergasting. All right, so the next question. So for the next one, I'm going to give you number threes.
We're still on trivia. I'm loving this.
Yeah, I got two more. These should be relatively quick. I'll give you the team that retired the number 3. You tell me who the player is.
Okay.
Okay, so the first team that retired the number 3, the Braves. Who's the number 3 on the Braves that is retired? Had their number retired. Number 3 for the Braves.
Number 3 on the Braves had his number retired. Eddie Matthews was 45. Aaron was 44. Chipper was in the 30s. Number 3. Wow, yeah, I am not. Nothing's really coming to me. Was it a player of our time period or no?
A little bit before us.
Oh, Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy. Yeah, I guess as soon as you said that, popped in my head. Dale Murphy, number 3.
Yep. All right. Second one, the Giants. Now this one I didn't even know who he was, but apparently he's a Hall of Famer. Giants. He's a first baseman, long time ago.
Bill Terry.
Excellent. Yes, Bill Terry. Yeah.
Nice.
Number 3, the Indians. The Indians. It was an outfielder, retired number 3.
Outfielder. Lou Boudreaux was. It came to my mind, but he's a shortstop. Al Rosen was also an infielder too. Number 3. Was it Doby? Was it Larry Doby?
It was not Larry Doby. That's who I thought.
Okay. Outfielder, number 3.
He's a Hall of Famer.
And it's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I got nothing coming to me.
Earl Averill.
Oh, Earl Averill. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, see, when I think Phillies. Didn't he play in the Phillies too?
Yep, he did.
He did. Oh, okay. So it wasn't just me. I was just about to look it up.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Earl Averill.
All right. Next one's a relatively easy. Well, one's a little bit tricky. This one I feel like you'll get right away. The Tigers, number 3.
Tigers number 3.
Shortstop,
Was it Alan Trammell?
Alan Trammell. Yep.
Yep. Alan Trammell.
Twins,
Twins number 3. Is that Harmon Killebrew?
Harmon
No.
Killebrew.
It is Harmon Killebrew, yes. Harmon Killebrew. Okay.
Now, this one I would not have gotten, even though it's a name both of us know.
Okay.
Was in the news recently within the past couple of years
Okay.
for the Chicago White Sox, number 3 that was retired. Outfielder / DH.
Harold Baines.
Harold Baines. Yep. Again, he should not be in the Hall of Fame. This one's tough. So, like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get this. Let me know if you need a hint. The Yankees.
Oh, jeez. God, who the hell wore number 3 for the Yankees?
There's a candy bar. I think he got his name from a candy bar.
Bill Butterfinger? No, he was a reliever. Let's go with Babe Ruth then.
There we go. And then my last bit of trivia. This one's real quick. I did not know this. I honestly thought it was Ricky Henderson. So who is the major league all-time leader in triples?
Chris Speaker.
Incorrect. Played for the Tigers.
Oh, it's Ty Cobb?
Not Ty Cobb. He's second with 297.
Tigers. Is it Wahoo Sam Crawford?
Sam Crawford. Ding, ding,
Wahoo
ding.
Sam Crawford.
Yes.
Yep.
Any relation to Carl Crawford?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's loving Ty Cobb, and Ty Cobb hated him. It's funny.
I feel like everybody hated Ty Cobb.
So Catherine watched Field of Dreams for the first time, and she absolutely loved it, which is great. Like I told you this entire time, it was going to be a great movie. But there's that one scene where Ray Liotta's character says, "Yeah, even Ty Cobb wanted to play, but none of us could stand this son of a bitch when he was alive, so we told him to stick it." I was told a great story years ago in Cooperstown, buying a picture of Shoes Joe Jackson and Ty Cobb, and the guy told me the story of how Ty Cobb used to go into Joe Jackson's general store after he was suspended from baseball. Like I think like something like once a month, to make sure he had enough money to pay like his bills and whatnot. I'm not trying to say Ty Cobb is a good guy because he wasn't.
Was he racist too?
Oh, racist, sexist, abusive, psychopath. I mean, he was the devil reincarnated on the baseball field. He was. And then I got plenty of top stories. I'll get to them maybe another time on my other podcast. But yeah, Ty Cobb was a bad person.
That's great. Well, that's not great, but your just knowledge blows my mind. Like, again, for me, not prefacing anything, you just nailing these. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of things. So for our first section, we're gonna go right into our recent pickups. So we'll go with. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, because you listen. You hyped it up for me. I got so excited. The spring training caps are awesome. They're awesome. They're awesome. So I got the St. Louis Cardinals one. There we go. Because my daughter's going to be on the Cardinals this season. So I picked it up, and then again, is it the hat? Is it Fanatics? I don't know. It just doesn't. No low profile ever feels the same to me. This one, to me, is way too tight in the front. It pinches my forehead. Again, it looks fine. I actually like the brim for it being Fanatics. It's not a terrible brim. I can bend it. I mean, it looks fine now, but I wear this for more than like 10 minutes. Like my head hurts. And it's so funny because, again, whenever I order from Fanatics, every low profile I get is something different. Now, this is a low profile right here.
Where's it made?
Okay, this one is made. It's so funny. You've asked me this before, and you think I would have this ready to go. This one was made in Laos.
Same with mine.
Yeah. Oh, now this one, which is made in Haiti. Okay. Again, same thing, 7/1/8. But look how this comes out.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't shape to my head at all. Like this one actually feels like a 7 1/4.
Yeah.
But this one's completely different. So that one, I mean, this one right here is the best low crown I have. This is my Seattle Mariners one. It's not too tight in the front. It curves around my head. It has the low profile look. Like this one's by far my best one. But Matt, I have a whole container of low profile hats, each one fits differently. Again, I don't know if it's just low profile now or what I think it is. I think it's a Fanatics quality control issue. I'm done with
Mhm.
Fanatics for quite some time. Until I see until you tell me that they have fixed their stuff, I'm not buying from Fanatics again.
So when I was getting things ready for tonight, I went back and I was like, okay, with the Mets playing tomorrow, I'm gonna put on a Mets hat for tonight. So I
Yep.
went back to like my early like probably 10-year-old Mets hats. The
Mm-hmm.
difference in quality between
Yep.
those hats and
Yep.
today's hats are night
Yep.
and day. Like
Yep.
they feel sturdy. They're like the fit is so much better. And like these are hats I sweat in and are like
Mm-hmm.
literally 10, 15 years old. They are so much better quality than they are now. So I was going to wear my Twins hat today just because I absolutely love this hat. But again, like
Yep.
so this is 7 3/8. So when I put it on, like it's not bad.
Yep.
But again, it's like not the same fit. But this wasn't the hat. I was just going to put my hat on now. So
Yeah.
the hat that I picked up is something that when I saw that this City Connect uniform was going to be disconnected, I already had one and I had to go out and get another one because I'm like, this is probably one of my favorite hats, color combinations, everything about it. I think it is the best City Connect uniform. Now, I'm going to give away who it is. It is the Washington Nationals. I do not like the WSH across the chest, but
Yeah.
that color gray and the cherry blossom, like that goes through it and
Yep.
that sublimation that's on
It's
the
nice.
uniform. Oh my God, I love it. So I was
Yep.
like, okay, I've got to get another pair. I'm gonna get another one so I can like store one. So there
It's the
is
same gray. I love it. Yeah.
oh my God, and like the little cherry blossom on the side
Yeah,
and
it's
everything
nice.
like that.
Nice little side
I
patch.
just
You don't mean a side patch. I love the side patch.
see, I don't know why they're getting rid of it. I mean, there's some like absolute albatrosses for the City Connects, and this is one of the ones that you get rid of. Like, tell me, you think cherry blossom, you automatically think Washington D.C., you think the
I agree.
springtime. Like, I don't
I
know
agree.
what they're possibly doing. I don't understand.
Yeah. I love
And I
it. I
got
love
this
it.
from eBay, and I'm happy with it.
And Matt, this is what again you and I are always, I think, is in sync. Because the other day I texted you and I went back to Laced Up. I talked to a great guy named Danny, store manager at Laced Up in Woodbury Commons. Great guy. We talked for must have been like 45 minutes. And I bought this little ditty right here. Again, the same gray, same look, everything, the side patch. And you're right. I put these on. The condition, the quality that these hats are made of. Again, it's another capsule hat. They're my absolute favorite. I love these hats. When you put it
Where's that
on,
one
it's
made?
so comfortable. Let's see. This one is made in Bangladesh.
That's what this one is. And again, this
Mm-hmm.
one fits so much better. And I haven't really broken this one in yet because I kind of want to like store this away because I
Sure.
just absolutely adore it. But you can
Mm-hmm.
just tell the quality of it is like
Yep.
infinitely better than the Laos ones.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, you gotta look more into these type of hats with the side patch. So this hat costs $50. The Cardinals
So do the
hat
other
on
ones.
FNX is like 42 plus the shipping. You're spending $50 anyways, so you might
Yeah.
as well just spend the money for the better quality. So to me that was again, it's a no brainer now. Like now that story is there, and again, you can buy them online as well. That capsule hats. Um, but they only sell a couple at a time, and they only release a few at a time, so you do have to be quick. But if you're near Laced Up, you have a store near you, definitely go in there because they are the best quality hats on the market.
But see, like this is my issue. And again, like I have a Kansas City Royals like black and red trucker hat because I like going weird sometimes. But when I
Yep,
wear the fitted though, I am much more like on field, like that's what I want. I don't really go with like the
yep,
fashion like
yep.
line of it. It is so
Mm-hmm.
hard to get like a legit good
Because
on-field hat that doesn't
because
have
the
some sort of
on-field
like
hats are not made from the same material. That's
yeah,
why they're
exactly.
not.
It's
The
awful.
brains,
Awful.
everything. It's not the same. It's a lighter fabric, and that's what Dan was explaining to me as well. It's a lighter fabric. It's not the same quality of this. Same thing with the brims. It's just different. It's just absolutely. And these are like what have been used to be grown up with. That's why they're so
Yeah,
good.
and I remember like going to cross gates, going to lids, and like the lids guy was like your best friend, and you would go
Oh
there
yeah.
and like literally
Yep.
like the hats were like great. You go in there
Mm-hmm.
now, first of all, the employees are awful. They don't even give you the time of day. They don't even say hi to you. And then
No.
all the hats are like these cheap, like Chinese knockoffs. Like I know Fanatics is going through the ringer now with the jerseys, which by the way look awful. But like,
Yep.
just I won't do it if I can't physically try it beforehand. I refuse to buy from them. I just
I
won't
do
do it.
wonder if just
I'll go to the
Fanatics
store
just
with
bit
you.
off. I think it's bit off more than they could chew. Now they're doing the
Yeah.
card stuff, and that hasn't been a seamless transition either. I think they just got too many balls in the air now. And again, I think quality control is what's suffering, and that's why we're getting what we're getting. That's why I'm stepping away from those guys for a while.
Yeah. And I say I'm not going to buy anything, but as a little transition here, did you? And I think I sent you the text earlier. Did you see this year's NFL? I know we're a baseball podcast, but
Yeah,
did you see the NFL
they're
draft caps for this year?
nice. It's simple.
What
I
did you
like
think?
because they're simple.
Compared to like what they were before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so again, I when I first saw them, I was like, oh, perfect. Like you said, very simple. The side patches are fine with some of like the mottos and stuff like that
Yep.
on the side. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get one. The Jets are getting a new uniform this year, so I'm like, I'm going with it. So, but when I looked at them a little more, I don't know if you saw this. Behind each logo, there's a very faint gray drop shadow that completely ruins the hat to me. I thought it was like a standalone like
Oh yeah, I know
logo
what you're talking
strong
about. No,
logo.
it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I don't like that. That kind of ruins it
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, I see. I thought you were all about it.
I was until I looked at it more, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know if I like the drop because just looking at it when I see him coming across Twitter, I'm like, okay, some of the phrases on the side, that's whatever. Like I'm looking at him right now, like okay, like the Bucks, that red, that just stands out. But when you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why are they doing the drop shadow? Whatever. I'm not just a huge fan of that. But did
Yep.
you see the new Jets logo? So the Jets are, of
I'm
course,
loading it.
going
You
back
said
to.
it's on the hat, right?
It is on the hat, yes.
All right, I'm scrolling down to find it. So what are your takes on it? Do you like it?
So first of all, the fact that they're going back to the logo from 78 to 97, they absolutely like they had to do that for the Jets. Like what they currently had was, I don't know, like Fanatics is whatever. Dude, like can you name one Nike redesign that has been good at all in the
No,
NFL? Like
no.
okay, the Vikings were pretty good for like a redesign when the Bucks went back to their old template and colors. Like that was okay, but the Gotham Jets was awful. The Falcons is awful. Like some of these are like just complete abominations. So the fact that I think everything that I've read, the Jets are going back to the sack exchange, like the traditional, going with the Jets logo with the fighter jet going over the top of the ETS. Absolutely love it. And I'm like, okay, so if there was a leak of a screen grab for the Jets. I was like, yep, I'm in. I'm buying it. I'm buying it without a doubt. But then I saw the side patch. So the side patch has the outline of New York State, but then it
Yeah.
also has underneath it New Jersey. And I'm like, come on, like,
Okay.
do we have to include New Jersey onto
I
it? I'm
mean,
like,
again,
that's just
their stadium is in New Jersey.
it ruined it for me. And it says
I've always found that so weird. They call themselves the New York Giants, the New York Jets. Their stadiums in New Jersey. It's weird.
I just I
You're
feel
not
like
New
it's
York.
like
It's so funny when I see that you're from New York. You root for the Jets and for the Giants. Well, there's stadiums in Jersey. It's Jersey taxpayer money that's going to it. So,
yeah,
not really seeing the connection there.
it just ruined it for me because like it says Jets, 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 and it looks like it's like the prostate of like New York State hanging off the bottom of it. I'm like, that to me
Mm-hmm.
just I don't understand. Like I understand for monetary reasons why they have to do it,
Yeah.
but to me it just ruins. But I'm just so ecstatic that the Jets are going back to that
There you
clean.
go.
They're gonna find a way
Listen,
to screw
there's
it up.
not much
Did
to
you?
be excited about as a Jets fan. So you get excited about whatever you want to get excited about.
Stop it with your 4.5 over under on the Patriots this year.
Oh, well, let's not even go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. All right, so let's
Listen,
switch gears. Let's go back to
yes.
let's round second here. Let's talk
Yep.
about the you got to explain this more to me because
Okay.
I have been confused. I've seen both viewpoints. I've bounced
Yep.
around here, but Shohei
Yep.
Ohtani, like as
Yes.
soon as it happened, like my initial reaction to it was like this reeks. It's just
Yeah.
a rat. There's something
Yeah.
that's stinky here.
Yep.
Tell me what's going on.
Now, let me ask you this question before we get started. So we are now about like 40th minutes in, right? Like 50th minutes in this first
34.
episode. All right, for this is our third episode. How about we do a multi-parter here? Because let me tell you, if you've been with us this long, through the trivia and whatnot, thank you very much for doing so. But maybe we'll give our audience a little bit more viewing or listening options. So how about we'll stop it here. One for a new one. What do you think about that idea? No, it's not for sure. So we're not talking about that.
No, that's fine. I'll just
All right,
remember. I'll
so
mark
we're
it
going to
35.
close out this part. It's still going to be episode 3. But yeah, we're going to talk about Itani and what went down with him and what's going on with the whole situation, how this is going to impact the Dodgers, how this is going to impact baseball. I do have some serious thoughts about this, and I definitely want the time and the space to do that and to do it right. So we're going to end this part here. Definitely tune in for episode 3, part 2, where we're talking about the Otani stuff and everything else we got going on.
Perfect.
Awesome.